So in our last class we spoke about the Excel tab where we discuss some ribbons, their functions, and show ourselves some examples in all of this. Today we are going to explain the workbook. The workbook where we have our Excel worksheets, and we have our cell, we have our column, we have our rows. So these are what we are going to talk on today, and hopefully we are going to get to talk about some other aspects of Excel workbook. So what's a workbook? A workbook is just like a place where you can actually record and show some aspects of Excel sheets. So it is a file where you have different Excel worksheets. So a workbook is just like a paper or an exercise book where we have different pages. So if you are a mathematician, let's say you have your exercise book for mathematics and you have others for English and all the rest. So the mathematics exercise book is where you have all your charts, your maths exercises, and all notes you have on that subject. So under that exercise book we also have different sheets, different pages. So this is an overview of what an Excel workbook is. So under this workbook we have sheets, and each sheet have what we call a column. It also have what we call rows, and each of these have their own specification and functions. So you get to understand and appreciate this explanation when we go deeper into this class. Okay, so that is all about a workbook. Let us show ourselves what an example of that is. So I will go to my file, and this thing you are seeing here, this first one you are seeing here, it is an Excel workbook where we have 4-lane shop floor. So we also have others that are also recorded like that. For example, you see another one here, that one here, financial plan for business. So that is also a workbook. So inside these workbooks we have a worksheet. So the bottom line here you see something like sheet 1. So all of these things here, these are what we call sheets. And we can also have different sheets. You can keep on creating on new sheets by pressing on this plus button. When I press the plus button, we are going to have our sheet 2. So you can see sheet 2, sheet 3, and you can continue working on all of this. I would like to show us some examples where we have different sheets, but let us just continue this for now, and when we go into practical we are going to see the benefit of having different sheets. Okay, so let's go back to the contents and see what we are going through. So creating and saving a workbook. We know what a workbook is now. So how do you create a workbook? In our last class we explained to us how we can actually create a workbook. So when you open an Excel app, so you are going to say let me try, I don't want to open a new one. So when you go to Excel file, you automatically click on either you create new sheets, or you click on blank. Okay, so I didn't know I was locked out, but I was talking. I'm sorry for that, and I didn't actually know where I stopped, so I had to watch the video to know where to start from or to continue from. Okay, so we spoke about the Excel worksheets. So I was explaining, you can see I've gone far. So I was explaining what I think, can I still remember? I was explaining where or what an Excel workbook is. So I've given example and an overview of what it looks like. So now how do we save an Excel workbook? I think that's the next, and then that was where I stopped. So how do we save the Excel file? Okay, so we have different ways, and actually I've saved this one So I didn't know the recording was not actually going through. So just for me to go back again, let me delete this. For me to delete that, I have to be able to cancel first. Okay, so let me delete that. Nope, don't save. Okay, so let me go back to create an Excel. So what I will do is to create a new one. And so how do we create this? I said that Excel actually save our work automatically. So you have done some work on your Excel cells and sheets something, and you want to save it. So maybe for example you were still working on it before you could save, your system goes off or something disrupts your work, and before you could actually save it, your system went down or shut down or what have you. So Excel will actually save that work for you automatically, and for Excel to save it, it will save it as book. So if there's any book in your file before, Excel will now add a number to it. So for this one, I can see book 3, when you can see it up here. So that is how Excel will save it. But for you as a person, if you want to save it, if you want to customize and maybe save it to your taste, because maybe there are times that you start looking for things and you don't know that you didn't actually save it with a name that you thought you have saved it with. Okay, so to save, we have 3 methods of that. You come up here, you can see this icon here, it is save. So when you click on it, it is going to save your work. But then since this is the first time we are planning to save this work, it is going to ask us for the name you want to save it with and location. So if I click on it, it's going to show me that. But in this class, I said we are going to be learning the easy way to use Excel. So we are going to be using a short key for this. And to save, we have short key, which is Control X. Control what? Control S. Okay, so I'll click on that and it's going to show me some options. So what should we save it with? Let's save it as Excel tutorial. Okay, so Excel tutorial. So then to save it in a particular location, I prefer saving it in documents. So you can actually select another place to save yours. Okay, so I prefer document. I'll hit the save option. So this has been saved, but because we have a name, I told you I created one before, thinking the video was still on. So because I have a name, Excel told me that okay, I have a name for it. So I'm going to change the name now. So okay, it has automatically changed itself. So this is how we can actually save our work. So we have saved it now. We can continue working on this our sheets. So I'm typing something just randomly. So for me to save here again, I can just click on Control X, and it will not give me the option of having to go through the name saving and location as well. So this has been saved. Just click on your Control X and it is saved automatically. So this is the second one. And now the second on the content is correcting the content of a cell. So how do we correct the content of a cell? Before we go there, we need to understand what a cell is. So we can say a cell where we have this number, where we have this 6.8, where we have this TU, TEU, and where we have this BT, whatever. So these are cells, and each cell contains or can be referenced to by a column, alphabet, and a roll number. Do you see it? A column, alphabet, and a roll number. So where we have this BTI, so what is the name? As I said, it is what is recognized by or referenced to as what? A column and a roll. So you are going to see under the name bar we have A2. So that is the name of this cell we just clicked on. So that's where we are working on. So a cell contains of a column, alphabet, and a roll number. So all this here, all this I just highlighted, these are what? These are columns. So we have columns, and in Excel we have about 13,000 plus column. You can see. Okay, so let's just see how it is. So this is the end of the column. This XFD, and that is the end of this Excel column. Then also when we are talking about the sheets, the roll number, as I said, they are the numbers. This here, this is roll number 1, roll number 2, roll number 3, and we have about 1 million plus roll. To see that, let's say So this is 1.4, 1,048,576. So that is for this particular sheet we have. So, and as I said before, that we have different sheets in Excel, so you can keep creating. Maybe you have exhausted this particular column, sheet, and rows in this particular sheet one. You can create on a new sheet by clicking on the plus button here. So when we continue the class, we are going to understand the benefit of having different sheets. Okay, so the next on the okay, we have explained what a cell is, and we'll go further to the next content. So how do you correct the contents of a cell? How do you correct it? So for example, we have this under cell A1, we have TB and what have you. So you want to correct it, you can actually decide to start typing afresh, rather, or you use the second method. So let us click on something tangible. Let's say Excel tutorial. So this is one. So how do I correct? Maybe for example, I make a mistake in the spelling, or I want to add something or remove something. So how do I correct? If I want to actually start typing all over, maybe I want to change whatever it is there or whatever is on the cell, I can actually just start typing the new thing, let's say table. So that is because I want to change the entire thing that is there. So what if I don't want to change the entire thing that is there, I just want to correct the spelling? So you can actually use any of these two methods. The first is to double click on this cell. You are going to double click. So that's the first one. Then you go to where you want to correct. Maybe let's say you want to say Excel workbook. Okay, so Excel workbook. That is the first method. Excel workbook. To double click. Okay, I even made a mistake. So I made a mistake. So how do we actually correct it again? So the second method now, we are going to click on this formula bar. You can see here formula bar. So to click on it and you make your corrections. So these are the ways to correct a cell. Hope that is well understood. So please let us say something under the comment section to see if we are actually getting along. So changing column and row widths. How do we change it? How do we change our column and row? So this Excel workbook, which is cell A1, how do we actually change it? Because when we see this writing has gone far to column A and column B. When I type something in my column B, you see that this column A, whatever is there will be what? Will be shortened to its the columns width and height. Okay, so let me type something in column B. Let me just say something like CYB. Okay, so you can see that my Excel workbook is no more complete. That is because this is the width, or this is the size of cell A1. Do you understand that? And when I also type something in cell B2, let's say IK, you can see whatever is here is also what? It's also shortened to the length or the size of that particular cell. So how do we actually make it appear in full, just like we want it to be? So there are two methods, and I will use the easiest one, as we used to say. Okay, the first is to come here. You can see this sign. The sign has changed. If I remove it, it has a different icon. So you take it to the edge of your cell of the column that's under A. Don't forget, we are going under A. We are not coming here. We are not coming here to drag. Okay, you can see we are not coming there to drag. What we are going is to go under the what? Under the column number and the column whatever. The column alphabet. So A. So it's either you actually drag it till your work is visible. That's the first method. But this method is actually hard. You see, it is even more than, you can decide to even drag like this. So you can drag more than the size of what you have in that cell. That's the first method. Then the second method, which I actually prefer, is to just come here, that same place, then you double click. You have the same result. But this result will be better because it will show you, it will give you the exact size of what you want. So the reason why it is like this is because some other cells you can see here. So other cells have something larger than what is in cell A1. So let's use cell B as an example, the column B as an example. So I'm going to double click on this. So you see it gives us the exact size of what is in the column, or in the cell rather. Hope this is understood. So that is how we actually resize. And also the second method, if you want to resize your the length, the height, is to, because we are not in height yet, we just finished the length, the width. Okay, so what is the next one? Okay, so inserting, you know what, let's just finish the resizing of our work. So the other one is to actually, maybe you have let's say for example you have Excel by magmas, by magmas. Okay, so this is too large and you want to resize it. You want the same size, you want it to remain in this same size. Okay, so how do you do? It is either you come down here to drag and click on the what's it called, the wrap up text, so it will be in this form. Do you understand? So you can see we have the upper layer and the lower layer. Okay, so you can see that everything is now visible. Everything is visible now. So this is how we actually change the column size or the cell size in Excel. Okay, so this is how we actually change it. Hope this is also understood. So going further, let's go to the third content, which is inserting of rows and inserting of column. Now we understood what a row is and what a column is. So how do we now insert a row and how do we insert a column? Maybe for example, before this TYB, that is column B, you want to insert something. You want to insert a column. So the easiest method is to come down to this this column B. It is already highlighted. So it's either you right click, and these are actually long way. It's either you right click and click on insert. Okay, you click on what? Insert. It will insert a column before this particular selected item. So maybe here you want to now put some numbers. Okay, so you want to put some numbers, but the easiest method I usually work with, as I used to say, we are working with the easiest method. So it's to click on that same column. We are talking on column now. We'll soon go to rows, how to add and how to delete. Okay, so the easiest method is to click on your Control plus. Your Control plus, it will automatically add it. So you can keep adding. Just continue to click on Control plus. Okay, so that is how to add. Hope that is also understood. So how do we now delete? So we have added all of these. How do you now delete? So you still use the same method. You highlight the cell you want to delete, or the column you want to delete, or the rows you want to delete, and click on, or you press on the control minus sign. You don't need to right click to delete, or you don't need to come to the tabs to find where delete is. The easiest method is just to use the short keys, control minus. So you will see that this will delete. Control minus down to where we have our TYB. Control minus down to where we have our TYB. So this is how to delete a column. So hope that is all understood. So how do we now delete a row? Don't forget, a row is the what? Is the number side. Is the number side of your Excel sheet. Okay, so we have highlighted on column 1 now, on row 1, where we have our Excel workbook by Magmas. So we want to actually add some rows. The same method you did in column. Just click on your Control plus instead of right clicking and clicking on inserts, or going to your tabs and start looking for where you find inserts, insert column, insert whatever it is. So if you want to actually go by inserts, you can go to this Excel tabs and check your inserts, so you find where you can insert a rows or a column. Okay, So with that is not what we are doing. We are using the easiest method. So we have added one, we want to add another one, we add again. So maybe you want to insert something before the Excel. If you want to also insert something after the Excel, you can also come down to the second row and click on Control Plus. So how do you delete? The same method you did while using your column is also the same method you are going to use while using the row. So Control minus, and also come down here also Control minus, okay, Control minus, Control minus. So let's say for example, as I was doing a Control minus, I mistakenly, okay, we are coming there, we are coming back there, okay, we are coming back there. I think I will make another video on how to actually do that. So let me just show what I was trying to say. Control minus, you can see I have mistakenly removed that what's it called, that's marmas, what have you. So how do you actually bring it back? So that's what we're going to talk about in my video. It's not going to be today, maybe by Friday or Thursday, inshallah, we're going to have that. So this is how to add column, and how to add rows, and also how to remove them. So that is all for today. We don't forget, we also talked about, I think we have jumped, we also spoke about how to delete your rows and column. We have talked about that. So that will be all for today. I hope to see you in the next class, so that we can talk more on the Excel. Okay, so thank